CD audio mata kuliah Listening 3 PBIS4222. Module 9, Unit 1. Identifying details of an exposition, presentation, or report of technology and science. Let's listen to text 9.1.1. It deals with the description of what the word technology means. While or after listening to the oral description, write down the keywords of this term, then rewrite in your own language the definition of this word.
Adapted from the simple English Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia that anyone can read and change. The word technology can be described in two ways. First, lexically, technology deals with the knowledge of human tools and crafts. Second, depending on when the word technology is used, technology may mean the tools and machines that help to solve problems, the techniques or knowledge that includes methods, materials, tools, and ways for solving a problem, such as building technology or medical technology, a culture-forming activity, such as manufacturing technology or space travel technology, a term to describe the level of achievement in science, mathematics, and engineering of a group or culture. In economics, the current state of our knowledge of how to put resources together to produce wanted products, and our knowledge of what can be produced.
Have you listened to the text? Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9, Unit 1, and do the exercises Task 9.1, Task 9.1a, and Task 9.1b. Listen to the text 9.1.2. While listening, please examine the pictures in your module and get the detailed and specific information of the text you hear.
The dry season in the west parts of Indonesia is severe this year. Some areas have been dried up. Last month, the villagers of Wanayasa, Indonesia, could not afford clean and healthy water to drink. They had to collect water by digging the beds of the dry rivers nearby. In some places, the water seemed to hide in the earth, so that they had to dig it up to 2 or 3 meters deep. They picked up the water bit by bit for hours just for a bucket of muddy water. They needed to keep it overnight to separate the mud from the water.
Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9, Unit 1, and do the exercises Task 9.1.2. Listen to the narration of the advertisement and make notes of detailed information from it. While listening, please examine the picture.
Lifesaver, world's first virus filtering water bottle, by Jamie Hamburg. A Lifesaver is a portable water filter system offering clean water from any water source. Setting aside how handy this is for backpacking, this could be a huge leap forward for ensuring safe drinking water in developing countries, disaster areas, or war zones where clean water is in short supply. And it's far more palatable than other icky but earth-friendly water filtration ideas. The inventor is Michael Pritchard, who thought of the concept in response to recent natural disasters. The basic science is in creating a filter smaller than the smallest virus, which is 25 nanometers across. The filter, therefore, has holes 15 nanometers across, successfully trapping even the feces of disease-causing bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi, and other waterborne pathogens. It is the world's first filtration water bottle to achieve such thorough filtration.
Have you listened to the text? Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9, Unit 1, and do the exercises Task 9.1.3a and Task 9.1.3b. Listen to the text about water filtration.
Water filtration. There are a number of methods of water filtration, each with varying degrees of effectiveness and varying costs. The general purpose of filtering water is to improve the water's hygiene and aesthetic qualities. Some of the available water filters are described below. Activated carbon or AC water filters. Activated carbon filtration is an established technology that works through absorption of the problematic compounds, primarily to remove taste and odor, but systems will also remove some harmful contaminants. These water filters are best suited for the removal of organic compounds. Ultraviolet UV water filters. UV filters are able to kill the majority of bacteria and viruses in the water which passes through them. However, they won't remove chemical pollutants from the water. Also, you should note that the treatment is ineffective outside of the treatment area, so water should be used immediately after it is treated. Water distillation or water distillers. Water distillation involves heating the water to boiling point and condensing the steam. Pollutants with a boiling point near that of water are hard to remove, but generally the distilled water is of a very high quality. Reverse osmosis. In water filter terms, reverse osmosis or hyperfiltration is the process of filtering water under pressure through a semi-permeable membrane, allowing water to pass through but rejecting other particles such as bacteria, toxins, salts, and anything bigger than around 150 daltons.
Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9, Unit 1, and do the exercises Task 9.1.4a and Task 9.1.4b. Now listen to the text about Biogas filter description.
Biogas filters are small, household-sized. It is adapted by David Mans, PhD, University of Calgary, Canada. The filter consists of a layer of gravel overlain with prepared sand media contained within a filter body or box, usually constructed on concrete or plastic. A shallow layer of water sits atop the sand, where a biofilm is created that further filters the water of harmful microorganisms. Operating the filter is very simple. Remove the lid, pour a bucket of water into the filter, and immediately collect the treated water in a cleaned container.
Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9, Unit 1 and do Task 9.1.5. Listen to the text about the filtration process of a Biogas filter.
The filtration process of a Biogas filter. Raw water usually contains various types of organic matters, sediment, living organisms, and unhealthy substances. When raw water is poured into the tap and it flows down though the diffuser basin containing of the brick chips and iron nail layer, the filtration starts. First, the brick chip layer reduces the disruptive force of the input water and large debris and protects the delicate biological layer. It filters physically raw materials such as grass and tree leaves that falls into the water resource. The second filtration is done by nail layers. The surfaces of nails, after the contact with water and air, will quickly rust and create ionic hydroxide. This absorbs effectively arsenic, a poisonous substance. Passes through the two layers in the diffuser's plate, the water reaches the surface of a quantity of fine sands. There, in the uppermost of sand layer, actually there is a thin layer where microorganisms live and grow. Such a layer is so-called biological layer and is given a specific term, smooth sticky. The biological layer is naturally created here during the first 2 or 3 weeks of the use. When raw water goes down to the bottom and passes through the sands, coarse, gravels, and finally flows out through the PVC pipe, there must be a layer of water that remains in bucket. It must be 5 cm deep on the sand. Final filtration process happens in thick layer of fine sand. It acts as a microscopic sedimentation bed as the water passes through the filter, helping remove dirt, odor, taste, and harmful microorganisms from the water. The size and shape of the sand grains are critical to the formations of the biological layer and therefore the effectiveness of the filter. Sand is specifically selected and prepared to achieve proper filtration. By the time the water reaches the layers of coarse sand and gravel at the bottom of the filter, 95 to 99.0% of microbial contaminants have been eliminated by the BioSand water filter.
Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9 Unit 1 and do the exercises Task 9.1.6. Listen to Text 9.1.7. It is a description of what science is. Make notes of the keywords and rewrite the description after listening. Finish the notes in Task 9.1.7. The keywords of science.
Science. Science, from the Latin scientia, meaning knowledge or knowing, is the effort to discover and increase human understanding of how the physical world works. Using controlled methods, scientists collect data in the form of observations, records of observable physical evidence of natural phenomena, and analyze this information to construct theoretical explanations of how things work. A broader modern definitions of science may include the natural sciences along with the social and behavioral sciences as the main subdivisions of science, defining it as the observation, identification, description, experimental investigation, and theoretical explanation of phenomena.
Now turn off your CD audio and open your Module 9 Unit 1 and do the exercises Task 9.1.7 and Task 9.1.8. Test 1. Choose one of the most appropriate alternatives to complete the following statements or to answer the questions.
Test 9.11a. Biogas and anaerobic digestion. Anaerobic digestion is a series of processes in which microorganisms break down in biodegradable material in the absence of oxygen. The anaerobic digestion or AD process can be applied to most organic waste streams including sewage sludge, food waste, kitchen waste, farm waste, cattle or livestock manure. As part of an integrated waste management system, anaerobic digestion reduces the emission of landfill gas into the atmosphere. Anaerobic digestion is a renewable energy source because the process produces a methane and carbon dioxide-rich biogas suitable for energy production, helping replace fossil fuels. Also, the nutrient-rich solids left after digestion can be used as fertilizer. The process. Anaerobic digestion is a naturally occurring biological process comprising the following key steps. First, enzymic or bacterial hydrolysis. Large molecules or polymers such as polysaccharides and proteins are converted to smaller compounds. In this step, bacteria break down the input materials into insoluble organic polymers, such as breaking carbohydrates into sugar, protein into amino acids. The bacteria make them available for other bacteria in the second step of digestion. Second, acidogenesis. It is the conversion of small compounds to volatile fatty acids or VFA by anaerobic digestion. In this process, sugars and amino acids produced in the hydrolysis process are converted by acidogenic bacteria into carbon dioxide, hydrogen, ammonia, and organic acids. Up to this step, the products cannot yield energy. Third process, methanogenesis. Volatile fatty acids are broken down by methanogenic bacteria to methane and CO2.
Test 9.1.1b.
Test 9.11b. Hello, my name is Dmitry Kolmogorov, and I'm going to introduce you to one of my favorite energy sources, the biogas. It is a fully homemade tool that you can also construct at home. Well, biogas traces back to the 18th century, London, where it was drawn from the underground pipes and burned in the street lamps. After the Industrial Revolution, the biogas lost its purpose and was replaced by coals and fossil fuels. This year, the era of biogas is back, and I will show you mine. Now look at this. It is almost 3 months old and contains methane with carbon dioxide. The materials used in it can be bought in your local hardware stores. The structure consists of a bottle, for example, mineral water container, a balloon, around 2 meters of plastic hose, T-connector, a valve valve, and a burner. The T-connector is placed in the middle of the bottle. Cut the hose into 3 parts. 2 parts are shorter, around 50 centimeters, and the rest around 1 meter long. The shorter hose connects the balloon to one end of the T-connector. The other 50 centimeters connects the T-connector to a valve. The longer hose connects the valve to the burner. Look, very simple, isn't it? And these materials can be bought in your local hardware stores. Practical. Well, as the structure prepared, fill manure or domestic bio-waste into the bottle. We call the bottle generator tank or just tank. Fill the waste up to the 2/3 part of the inner space. Then pour raw water into the tank and make it full, so that the ratio of the waste and the water is 2 compared to 3. We spend around 2 weeks to let the biodigestion in the tank happen.
Module 9, Unit 2, Completing Notes. Listen to the text 9.2.1.1. While or after listening, make your own notes. If you have no idea how to do it, try to complete the drive in Task 9.2.1 as a practice of making notes in the module. Make some abbreviation if it is needed.
Give the job interviewer the complete story. One of the most common and important questions any job applicant has to answer during the interview is the behavioral question. Can you describe your most notable professional or work-related achievements? This question poses a couple of problems for many job seekers. First, too many interviewees are uncomfortable talking about their achievements and feel like they are bragging. In fact, it isn't bragging. If you've had a hand in any type of work-related accomplishment or achievement, it's not bragging. It's a fact, once you can support it. Our second problem is that too many employers overlook their small accomplishments and think the interviewer is only looking for big achievements. Don't think an achievement has to be hyperbolic to get an employer's attention. Say you have ever saved the company up to $10 million. Most of us haven't been in a position to generate anything close to an earth-shattering, multi-million-dollar achievement. But we've all had the opportunity to have a hand creating any number of small, work-related accomplishments and achievements such as improving safety, doing the job quicker, saving money, improving customer service, and etc. But just telling the interviewer you had an achievement isn't enough. The interviewer wants the complete story. This 7-step questioning process can make conversation works. It lets job seekers comfortably talk their achievements in the interview. First, what an achievement have you ever made? Second, what was your role in the achievement? Third, what problems were you trying to solve? Fourth, how did your involvement benefit the company? Fifth, how did your involvement benefit your co-workers? Sixth, how did your involvement benefit customers? Seventh, what 3 key skills did you use in achieving this success? The answers are most likely expected by interviewers, and on which they will take them as the basis of considering you as the person the company really needs.
Now put on your CD audio and do the task 9.2.1.1a and task Make notes of the keywords of branding for the basis of making two definition and meanings of branding in an industry or trade, and self-branding of an individual dealing with his/her career.
Building Your Brand: Tactics for Successful Career Branding by Randall S. Hansen, PhD. What is it that all successful companies have mastered, and what job seekers looking to advance in their careers need to master? What makes the product of Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Starbucks, Disney, and McDonald's familiar to people around the world? What makes the consumer buy one product over another, and makes one job seeker much more sought after than others? The answer is marketing, but more specifically, it is the power of branding. And branding isn't just for products anymore. Branding can be described as many things. In industry or business, it is best defined as a promise of the value of the product, a promise that the product is better than all the competing products. It is a promise that must be delivered to be successful. Branding is the combination of tangible and intangible characteristics that make a brand unique. Branding is developing an image with results to match. An individual in his society or community has also kind of branding, which some call it self-branding. It is essential to career advancements because branding helps define who you are, how you are great, and why you should be sought out. Branding is your reputation. Branding is about building a name for yourself, showcasing what sets you apart from others, and describing the added value you bring to a situation.
Now turn off your CD audio and do Task 9.2.1.2a, Task 9.2.1.2b, and Task 9.2.1.2c. Listen to the text 9.2.2.1, a dialogue between a grandson and his grandpa. They are talking about what responsibility is. After or while listening, complete the task 9.2.2.1a. Notes of the details of the text.
How's your school, grandson?
Great, Grandpa. The teacher gave us a task. We have to work in group of 4. Although it is for a group, the teacher told us that each member must work cooperatively. Each member must be responsible for the group work.
Is it a hard task for you all to finish?
Not really, but what responsible means?
Oh, well, being responsible is when you are taking care of your duties, answering for your actions. You are a responsible student when you hold accountability and trustworthiness.
Hard to understand, Grandpa. Give me an example to make it clear.
Well, it seems you need pieces of papers to list them out. Well, however, I'll mention some for you as a student and as young boy. You are a responsible member of a family when you complete your course at home without being constantly reminded. Come home on time. If you're late, call your parents and give reason why.
Is that all? What about responsibility at school?
You are called a responsible student when you complete school assignments on time and do the best of your ability. When you return library books on time. Keeping a promise will also indicate how responsible you are.
Well, Grandpa, I think I've heard all what you've said.
Good boy. But remember, you also must be responsible to you yourself. As an individual, self-responsibility. I once ever saw you that you didn't care of your personal possessions. You threw your bag, books, pencil box everywhere after studying. It's not a kind of self-responsibility.
Grandpa, why is being responsible important for me? I mean for us.
Listen, young boy, my dear grandsons, why being responsible is important? Because responsibility is a core value for living honorably. Responsibility is being accountable for your behavior. And responsibility is being dependable when you have things to do.
Now turn off your CD audio and do task 9.2.2.1a and task 9.2.2.1b. Listen to the text 9.2.2.2. While or after listening, then complete the task 9.2.2.2 in your module with details.
Citizens' responsibility. What do you think of the citizens' responsibility of the young generation in our country?
Citizens' responsibility. Once, in my view, meant that neighbors watch out for each other. Since every person in town and cities become individualistic, citizens' responsibility has changed much. Years ago, people would always check on their neighbors to make sure they and their properties are okay. Now, it seems people don't have care what is happening to them.
So, do you think the people now have lost their responsibility?
Yes, I do. Citizens have lost sight of their responsibility. Crime is getting out of control in many major cities because people have let it reach that point. It was in the past, when we old generation has ever experienced. People took responsibility into actions. And today, we seem to pass the buck to someone else. The only time we take responsibility for things is now, when we are in the court system and they make us do it.
Where have we lost the definition of responsibility?
I think it can be tracked back to many years ago, when people will let it slide in courts and schools.
Can we reverse it? How?
However, such negligence can be reversed and we can get back the definition of responsibility. Though, this is going to take a lot of work. Most people growing up nowadays have no real responsibility and must be taught it all over again.
What will happen if citizens' responsibility keeps on decreasing?
Until people realize the need to practice citizen responsibility, the environment will be less secure to live in. It's a shame to say, but for some reasons, people have lost their will to do what is right.
Now turn off your CD audio and do task 9.2.2.2. Formative Test 2. Listen to the test 9.2.2 and finish the note.
Responsibility-based leadership. A lot of leadership development is focused on the leader. The qualities or characteristics are required to be a great leader. These make leaders focus on themselves and often results in an egocentric approach. The newest managerial trend at work has changed the approach. The emphasis should not only be on leaders, but also on the environment they create. In the work environment, either the employee or staff has been given the minimum control and free for creativity. However, he must be responsible for his work. They all together create a responsibility-based culture. Building a responsibility-based culture at works can only happen if leaders at all levels of the organization understand that they are responsible for the work environment they create, and that the work environment has a significant impact on whether people will choose to be responsible and accountable. The challenge is to learn how to work in partnership with employees and to encourage their input into how they can do their jobs better and help create a great organization. So, how do you build leadership that can support and maintain a responsibility-based culture at works? The first step is to believe in people. If your leader doesn't believe in people or employee, they won't trust him. They won't let him any input. Second, give 2 things employees need: to feel valued and become engaged.
Module 9, Unit 3, Completing Notes and Making Summary. Listen to the text 9.3.3.1. Do the task 9.3.1.
Text 9.3.1. Personality type. The concept of personality type refers to the psychological classification of different types of individuals. Personality types can be distinguished from personality traits, which come in different levels or degrees. There are 5 major types of personality. Among the psychologists, there are popularly called Big 5 personality traits that actually refer to 5 broad factors or dimensions of personality. These 5 factors can be abbreviated into OCEAN. First, O stands for openness, or sometimes called intellectual. Second, C for conscientiousness. Third, E for extraversion. Fourth, A for agreeableness. And fifth, N for neuroticism. Its factor consists of a cluster of more specific traits that correlate together. For example, extraversion includes such related qualities as sociability, excitement-seeking, impulsiveness, and positive emotions. First, openness or intellectual. It is a general appreciation for art, emotion, adventure, unusual ideas, imagination, curiosity, and variety of experience. People who are open to experience are intellectually curious, appreciative of art, and sensitive to beauty. They tend to be, compared to closed people, more creative and more aware of their feelings. Second, conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is a tendency to show self-discipline, act dutifully, and aim for achievement. The trait shows a preference for planned rather than spontaneous behavior. The trait shows a preference for planned rather than spontaneous behavior. It influences the way in which we control, regulate, and direct our impulses. Third, extraversion. Extraversion, also called extraversion, is characterized by positive emotions, urgency, and a tendency to seek out stimulation and the company of others. Extroverts enjoy being with people and are often perceived as full of energy. Fourth, agreeableness. Agreeableness is a tendency to be compassionate and cooperative, rather than suspicious and antagonistic towards others. The trait reflects individual differences in concern for social harmony. They are generally considerate, friendly, generous, helpful, and willing to compromise their interests with others. Fifth, neuroticism. Neuroticism is the tendency to experience negative emotions such as anger, anxiety, or depression. It is sometimes called emotional instability. Those who score high in neuroticism are emotionally reactive and vulnerable to stress. They are more likely to interpret ordinary situations as threatening and more frustrations as hopelessly difficult.
Turn off your CD audio and do task 9.3.1. Listen to the text 9.3.2. First, complete the following note with details of how different kids react differently to a new situation.
Text 9.3.2. Different kids, different temperament. What's temperament? Before making a definition, learn the ways of two different kids approach a new situation. It can be one example of how temperament at work. In a playgroup, there are 3 2-year-olds entering their classroom on the first morning of daycare. Rahim and his mother open the door and scan the room. Within minutes, Rahim rips off his coat and abandons his mom to join the other kids building with blocks. When Frank and his dad arrive at the classroom, Frank spends a long time leaning into his dad's leg and refuses to take off his coat or hat. After watching the other kids for a while, he insists away from his dad to get a closer look at a table where kids are working on puzzles. At that point, Frank's dad suggests that he join them. Frank takes his dad's hand and they walk together to the puzzle table. Frank sits down next to another child and gets to work. Carl speeds into the room ahead of his grandmother. No time to waste looking around to check out what's going on. He charges up to 2 boys who are crawling on the floor, grabs one of the trucks and yells, "Mine!" Why do these 3 children react so differently to the same situation? Each of these 3 boys was born with his own temperament. How a child reacts to everyday routines, transitions, unfamiliar situations, and new people is influenced by his temperament, something inherent psychological trait which they were born with.
Turn off your CD audio and task 9.3.2a and task 9.3.2b. Listen to the text 9.3.3. Complete the note with details to make it a summary.
There are 5 traits that represent the range of inborn characteristics. They are the intensity of reaction to new situation, the activity level, the tolerance for frustration, the response to change, and the reaction to new people. Each of these is present in every child. What differs is how they are expressed. For example, when it comes to reaction to new people, one child might chiefly greet a cousin he's never met, while another may not even make eye contact. Each trait that made up a child temperament has its intensity and it can be measured or gauged. The measures of scores of intensity, of course, is not a discrete thing, but a continuum. It ranges from the lowest to the highest intensity. Although we describe each end of the range, many children fall somewhere in the middle of the spectrum.
Turn off your CD audio and test 9.3.3a and test 9.3.3b. Listen to the text 9.3.4 and do the text 9.3.4.
Gauging the intensity of temperament traits. Intensity of reaction. Kids like Carlos tell the world loud and clear how they feel. They're what we would call big reactors. Intense kids like these might squeal at the top of their lungs when they're happy and shout, throw things, or hit when they're mad. The low-key child, the kids on the low range of intensity, tend to be quiet and rarely fuse, sleep more than average, and show their emotions with only slight changes in facial expressions or tone of voice. The range is from I just want to chill to I want everyone to know how I feel, and from low reactor to big reactor. Activity level. If your child is action-oriented, you'll probably know by the time she's walking. She'll always want to be on the go, exploring the world around her by crawling, running, and climbing. These movers and shakers love spaces that offer lots of opportunity for movement. At the other end of the spectrum are kids who are content to sit and play quietly, and may prefer exploring with their hands instead of their legs. They tend to take in the world by looking or listening. Their interest in the things around them can be every bit as strong as an active baby's, but they don't feel the same need to be up and about. The range of this trait lays from I'm happy to sit and play to I need to be on the move, or from physically active to passive.
Turn off your CD audio and test 9.3.4. You are going to hear the problem of a mother with her elder daughter. The text covers a question-answer in a radio program.
Stealing money from your pocketbook. Hello, who is it?
Caroline, a 35-year-old mother in Chiapas.
Hi, welcome to Mother's Talks program. What's your problem then?
My daughter, Susan, 8-year-old.
What's the matter?
My 8-year-old daughter stole money from my pocketbook. When I caught her taking money from my purse, I sent her to her room. But a week later, it happened again. What can I do?
Well, a child stealing parents' money is very common. It happens to any family among nations. Recheck it first. Maybe it was not a stealing. When your child is repeatedly taking things that aren't hers, the problem you need to address probably isn't stealing. Jerry Birdleb, PhD, a child psychologist from Greenwich, has ever told me that children this age are old enough to understand when parents explain to them that sneaking money is wrong. If they try it a second or third time, you can assume that there is more going on than meets the eye. There must be something else is going on. Before you confront your child, however, do your homework first. Finish it and then ask around.
Turn off your CD audio and do test 9.3.5. Formative Test 3. Complete the following notes of details while listening. Based on the notes, make a summary.
Test 1. How can you tell what your child's temperament is? Between 6 and 9 months, most parents begin to see patterns in their child's behaviors that give them clues, but temperament becomes more apparent in the toddler years as your child becomes more verbal and social. Keep in mind that the characteristics you find challenging in your child's early years may turn into positive qualities as he grows. Intense, feisty kids are often very passionate and creative, and are good at asserting themselves and making things happen. Slow to warm up kids can be very thoughtful and sensitive, good at listening and empathizing with their peers. For now, recognizing patterns in your child's behavior that are influenced by the temperament can help you anticipate your child's responses to certain situations. For example, if you know your child gets overstimulated by too much noise, you can make shorter trips to the store and hold him in a baby carrier so he feels safe and sheltered. Remember, too, that no matter how consistent a child's parents may appear to be, sometimes children can and will catch you off guard by acting in ways that you don't expect. A child who is usually wary of strangers might fall madly in love with her new teacher. The fact that your child can surprise you is one of the most exciting and even delightful rewards of parenthood.
Listen carefully and make notes the observable main behavior, the physical makeup, and how to treat a child who tends to be active and aggressive.
Test 2. The active or aggressive child. Behavior. The active or aggressive child is highly impulsive and apt to react physically to many situations. He is often on the go, a doer, not a thinker. He jumps headlong into new experiences, diving first and looking later. At school, he may be the class rebel-rouser. This child is easily frustrated and angered, and resorts quickly to hitting, punching, and pinching to get what he wants or to express anger. At his best, he can be enthusiastic and creative. Physical makeup. An overly impulsive child tends to have poor motor control, which can be misinterpreted by parents and others as aggression. He may be underreactive to touch as well as to pain, and thus crave tactile experiences and other physical contact. Because he is underreactive to sound, he may enjoy loud noises. Sometimes he has trouble sequencing a series of movements, motor planning. How parents respond. Parents and other caregivers sometimes intensify this child's behavior patterns by alternating between being nice guys and exploding in anger. Often, the father lays down law and order, while the mother is permissive. But the child perceives their differing approaches as vacillation. The less warmth and nurturing an aggressive child gets, the more difficulties he may face. Parents who provide firm structure and limits as well as lots of opportunities for consistent, warm engagement can enhance these youngsters' positive qualities. As well, they need to encourage the use of his imagination to help him learn to express feelings verbally and use ideas to get what he wants, rather than just angry behavior. Parents and other caregivers should provide warm, trusting relationships and try to instill self-observation and responsive communication. Once this child learns to be reflective and exercise some restraint, his energy and charisma can become powerful assets. Keep in mind that many children won't fall neatly into one category or another. Your child may be a blend of two or more of these characteristics, or may, in fact, display different characteristics at various times. Basic principles of parenting, especially empathy and patient listening, will help you form a profile of your child's personality and learn how best to respond to his or her challenges and to elicit his or her individual strengths.
Now turn off your CD audio and learn the material in the module. Please turn on the CD audio and listen carefully as you ask in the exercises, and turn off whenever you are asked to open module. This is the end of CD Audio PBIS4222 Module 9 Unit 1, 2, and 3. This CD audio is prepared to help to improve your listening skill. Good luck!